My name is Greg Michaels, and I'm an impact measurement director at Chemonics, and basically that meant that Chemonics has tried on its own to push things forward in terms of looking at impacts and going beyond what we typically do in our actual project work. So we'll talk about this as beyond closeout, and as Carrie has seen, these are two very old projects, but ones of which Chemonics was very proud. So I have to say, by way of transparency, that our own effort was prompted by trying to tell the story of a long-term impact on a series of projects that were considered successful. So this isn't sort of a full-fledged analysis of our whole portfolio, but nonetheless, I think it has, I hope what I think you find are valid conclusions, useful conclusions. So we'll see. Basically, the situation, and I come from the ag practice. There's a group, and I'm the ag practice director. Ben is ag practice manager. We technically manage, ag issues within the company, a community of practice. And this particular activity of looking at post-project impacts is one particular effort on that part. Okay, now I'm sure you're all waiting to see when is he ever going to turn the page. There you go. Central America, 1986 to 1995. PROEXAG and EXITOS were operating in the Central American region to promote non-traditional ag exports, and that means, non-commodities basically. And you'll see here what that actually meant. Conducted this study. Basically, it's things that you folks are very familiar with. If you look at the three issues, we want to understand our total development impact. We want to look at what worked and what didn't, both intended and unintended consequences, and try to learn those long-term lessons in terms of what's sustainable and what's not sustainable. These particular projects were selected because they were perceived, at least, as having been well leveraged. $14 billion of AID funding that turned into $156 million in exports during the period of execution of these projects from 1986 to 1995. We also felt like we had a critical hand in terms of the attribution. We introduced new crops, new techniques, and made, I think we're instrumental in making certain things happen that, at least by our own assessment, wouldn't have happened during that time frame. These were seminal projects in that it applied a demand-driven approach to link producers, buyers, and shippers. On the basis of all three, that's why we focused on here. Our project focused on 20 crops, and I'll show you what those 20 crops are. It focused across all business stages of the problem, ranging from the market side, business plan development, ag production, which meant crop growth and crop packaging, as well as product marketing, making linkages with brokered deals. PROEXAG and EXITOS focused on two sets of project beneficiaries: the local enterprises and growers, exporters, and producers associations, and local export federations. The key crops, there are 18 there, and all of those, if you scan down them, you can see that these are not major commodities. That's why they're called non-traditional ag exports: fruits, vegetables, flowers, and spices. Sorry, this looks so clunky. Basically, our effort was to look across those 18 crops and try to figure out which of them could be claimed as high attribution as a result of these projects. The high attributes ones we defined as directly attributable to the project interventions, and the lower bound estimate that you see in that illustrative set of curves is just the aggregation of the exports, or would be the aggregation of the exports since the project's closed, of those ones designated as high confidence crops. The low confidence ones are the ones that are grayer and harder to decide, how instrumental we were, or if we were instrumental, if we had an impact, what portion of those results could we, quote unquote, claim. let's see, the way we did it. The key crops we looked at were evaluated in terms of three aspects: marketing assistance, production technology assistance, and introduction of new crops. And then we organized export sales based on U.S. foreign trade statistics and import statistics from the United States and export statistics from the exporting countries. The United States, for these crops, is still the major destination, so we did not focus on exports to other countries, only to the United States.
These were crops that were previously not exported.
You'll see. Some of them were not even produced. Some were probably not exported, but they were produced for local consumption, like white calla lilies. They might have been exported, and we added varieties to these, and those are the ones that were exported. But a lot of it is forming new business relationships with people who had not exported before. But generally, the clearest cases, following, the black dots are the ones that the high attribution, as we designated them. It's a new crop, and I'll get into examples of those. Half Moon is a new crop variety, so there might have been a tradition, a knowledge about production, but not of those varieties. The blackest dot, and therefore the highest on production, was we gave them the whole production package. What does it take to prep the ground? What does it take to prep the cultivar? What was going to be planted, et cetera, all the way from soup to nuts. And then the market is two varieties established a new market. There wasn't any export of these crops at all, no buyer relationships, or we helped expand an existing market opportunity.